There is a nurse in Houston making $82,000 a year. She drives a 2024 Kia Sorento. She has two kids in public school and a husband who manages a warehouse. Combined household income, $139,000. On paper, they are solidly middle class. In reality, they have $1,400 in savings, $23,000 in credit card debt, and no retirement account. She is 38 years old. Across town, there is an electrician. He makes $64,000. He drives a 2018 Toyota Tacoma he bought used for cash. His wife teaches third grade. Combined household income, $118,000. $21,000 less than the nurse's family. But this family has $340,000 in retirement savings, zero credit card debt, and a 6-month emergency fund sitting in a high-yield savings account, earning 4.5% interest. He is 41 years old, same city, similar incomes, radically different financial futures. The difference is not luck. The difference is not inheritance. The difference is a set of money rules that almost nobody follows, but that virtually every self-made millionaire in America swears by. These rules are not complicated. They are not secret. They are just deeply, almost painfully, boring. And that is exactly why they work. My name is Zuri, and I spend way too much time obsessing over financial data and the hidden psychology of wealth, so you do not have to. Today, I am going to show you the specific money rules that separate people who build real, lasting wealth from people who will spend their entire lives feeling broke no matter how much they earn. The financial condition of the average American household in 2026 is staggering when you look at the numbers all at once. Americans now carry $1.28 trillion in total credit card debt, the highest balance since the Federal Reserve Bank of New York began tracking it in 1999. 47% of credit card holders carry a balance from month to month, according to a 2025 Federal Reserve study. Bankrate's 2026 Emergency Savings Report found that only 30% of Americans can cover a $1,000 emergency expense from savings. One-third said they would go into debt to handle a single unexpected bill. 27% of Americans have no emergency savings at all. The Bank of America Institute reports that nearly 24% of U.S. households are living paycheck to paycheck as of 2025, spending over 95% of their income on necessities alone. And a PNC Bank survey found that 67% of full-time workers describe themselves as living paycheck to paycheck, up from 63% in 2024. This is not a low-income problem. LendEdu's 2025 Personal Finance Survey found that even among households earning $150,000 or more per year, 20.6% say they are stuck in the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. Read that again. 1 in 5 families earning 6 figures cannot break free. Meanwhile, Ramsey Solutions conducted the largest study of millionaires ever performed in North America, surveying more than 10,000 individuals with a net worth of at least $1 million. What they found contradicts nearly everything popular culture teaches about wealth. 79% of those millionaires did not receive any inheritance. 31% never earned 6 figures in any single working year of their career. The top 5 careers producing millionaires were engineers, accountants, teachers, managers, and attorneys. Not tech founders, not influencers, not day traders, teachers. The gap between what actually builds wealth and what people believe builds wealth has never been wider. The rules that follow are the bridge across that gap. The single most powerful financial habit in 2026 is not an investment strategy. It is automation, moving money into savings, investments, and debt payments before it ever touches your checking account, before you see the number, before your brain can negotiate with it. Here is why this matters so much. Behavioral economists at the University of Chicago found that people who automate their savings contributions save an average of 73% more than people who transfer money manually. Not because they have more discipline, because they remove the need for discipline entirely. Consider two people earning $75,000 a year. Person A decides to save whatever is left at the end of each month. Person B sets up automatic transfers on payday, 15% to a 401k, $200 to a high-yield savings account, and $300 toward credit card debt. Person A ends the year having saved sporadically, maybe $2,000 total if things went well. Person B, without thinking about it, has directed $11,250 into retirement, $2,400 into emergency savings, and $3,600 toward eliminating debt. That is $17,250 in total wealth building activity. Same income. The only difference is that Person B automated everything on January 1st and never looked back. 80% of the Millionaires in Ramsey Solutions study said investing in their company's 401k was a critical factor in reaching seven figures. 3 out of 4 said regular, consistent investing over a long period was the reason for their success. Not stock picking, not timing the market. Automated contributions, month after month, decade after decade. The math is straightforward. A 28-year-old contributing $500 per month to an index fund averaging 10% annual returns will have approximately $1.13 million by age 58. That is 30 years of $500 monthly contributions totaling $180,000 in actual cash invested. The remaining $950,000 is compound interest doing the heavy lifting. But only if the contributions are consistent. Only if they never stop. Automation guarantees they never stop. This is the rule that quietly prevents financial catastrophe, and it is the one most Americans ignore until it is too late. Bankrate's 2026 data shows that 29% of Americans have more credit card debt than emergency savings. Among millennials, that number jumps to 42%. The average credit card APR is hovering between 20 and 24%, according to the Federal Reserve's latest consumer credit data. That means every emergency without savings behind it becomes a debt spiral. A $2,000 car repair on a credit card at 22% APR, paid at the minimum, turns into roughly $3,400 over 3 years. That single emergency cost you an extra $1,400 in interest. The emergency fund is not exciting. Nobody posts it on social media. Nobody brags about their high-yield savings account at dinner parties. But it is the single most important piece of financial infrastructure you can build. Because without it, every other financial goal becomes fragile. Your investment contributions get paused when the furnace breaks. Your debt payoff plan collapses when you lose your job. Your budget dissolves the moment something unexpected happens. 94% of the millionaires in Ramsey Solutions research said they live on less than they make. Nearly 3/4 have never carried a credit card balance in their lives. These are not people who got lucky. These are people who built a financial foundation before they built anything else. The target is 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. If your monthly essentials are $3,500, that means between $10,500 and $21,000. Start with $1,000 as the first milestone. Put it in a high-yield savings account, earning 4 to 5%. Do not touch it unless something breaks, someone gets sick, or someone loses a job. Vacations are not emergencies. Sales are not emergencies. A new phone because yours has a cracked screen is not an emergency. This is a rule so counterintuitive that most people reject it on first hearing. The idea is simple. Every dollar you spend this month was earned last month. You are always operating one full paycheck ahead. Why does this matter? Because it eliminates the timing trap that destroys most budgets. When you live on this month's income this month, you are constantly playing catch-up. The rent is due on the 1st, but your paycheck hits on the 3rd. The car payment is due on the 15th, but the big commission does not land until the 20th. You are perpetually juggling, constantly checking your balance, always one misstep from an overdraft. When you live on last month's income, every bill is already funded before the month begins. You know exactly what you have. No juggling, no guessing, no stress. Getting there takes time. It might take 3 to 6 months of aggressive saving to build a 1 month buffer. But once you arrive, the psychological shift is profound. You stop reacting to money. You start directing it. Fidelity's 2025 retirement analysis shows that the median retirement savings for Americans ages 25 to 34 is approximately $18,800. For those ages 35 to 44, it is about $56,300. Both of those numbers are dramatically below the recommended benchmarks. A 35-year-old earning $80,000 should ideally have 1 to 2 times their annual salary saved by that point, meaning between $80,000 and $160,000. The gap between where people are and where they need to be is not primarily an income problem. It is a cash flow management problem. People earn enough. They just spend it in the wrong order. Living on last month's income fixes the order. Every purchase over $100 must wait 72 hours before you complete it. No exceptions. Not the jacket, not the gadget, not the kitchen appliance that seems urgent at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. A 2024 study by Empower found that 73% of Americans admit to making impulse purchases that they later regret. The average American spends approximately $314 per month on impulse buys, according to research from Slick Deals. That is $3,768 per year. Over 20 years, invested at an average annual return of 10%, that $3,768 per year becomes approximately $237,000. Think about that for a moment. The difference between retiring with $250,000 more and not is the ability to wait 3 days before buying things you did not plan to buy. The 72-hour rule works because it separates desire from decision. In the moment, your brain floods with dopamine. The item feels essential. 3 days later, the neurological urgency is faded. You evaluate the purchase on its actual merits. Most of the time, you realize you do not actually need it. Sometimes you still buy it, and that is fine, because the decision was made deliberately rather than emotionally. 93% of the Millionaires in Ramsey Solutions study said they got their wealth because they worked hard, not because of high salaries. But working hard includes working hard to control spending. These same millionaires spend $200 or less each month at restaurants. 93% use coupons all or some of the time when shopping. They are not depriving themselves. They are filtering every purchase through a simple question. Does this move me toward my goals or away from them? The 72-hour rule is that filter, systematized. If it loses value the moment you buy it, do not borrow money to pay for it. This rule alone, followed consistently for a lifetime, changes everything. The average new car payment in the United States in 2025 is $738 per month, according to Edmunds. The average loan term is 68 months. That means the typical buyer is paying roughly $50,200 over nearly 6 years for a vehicle that loses approximately 20% of its value in the first year and up to 60% over 5 years. A $45,000 car is worth approximately $18,000 by the time you finish paying for it. You paid $50,200 for something now worth $18,000. The difference, $32,200, simply vanished. Now consider someone who buys a reliable 3-year-old vehicle for $22,000 in cash. They saved aggressively for 18 months, paying themselves the $738 per month car payment they did not have. That is $13,284 accumulated. They added another $8,716 from a side project and bought the car outright. No interest, no monthly payment. The depreciation curve on a 3-year-old vehicle is dramatically flatter, meaning the car holds its value far better as a percentage of what they paid. 5 years later, they sell it for $11,000 and repeat the process. Over 30 years, the difference between these two approaches is staggering. The person financing new cars every 5 years will have spent approximately $300,000 on vehicles and own one car. The person buying used with cash will have spent approximately $120,000 on vehicles and can invest the $180,000 difference. At 10% average annual returns, that invested difference grows to well over $500,000. $500,000. That is not the difference between a good car and a bad car. That is the difference between financing depreciation and refusing to. The most expensive financial mistake in 2026 is not investing in the wrong thing. It is waiting to invest until you feel ready. Vanguard data shows that the S&P 500 has averaged approximately 10.5% annual returns over the past 50 years. That includes recessions, market crashes, pandemics, wars, and every crisis in between. The market has recovered from every single downturn in history. Every one. But the returns only materialize for people who were invested during the recovery, not people who were reading about investing, not people who were planning to start next quarter, people who had money in the market when it bounced back. A person who invests $400 per month starting at age 25 in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund will have approximately $2.12 million by age 65, assuming a 10% average annual return. The same person starting at age 35, just 10 years later, will have approximately $790,000. That 10-year delay costs $1.33 million. Not because of different skill levels, not because of different incomes, because of time. 75% of the millionaires in Ramsey Solutions' study said consistent long-term investing was the primary reason for their wealth. Not one of the 10,000 participants identified single stock picking as an important factor. The strategy that builds millionaires is breathtakingly simple. Buy a diversified index fund, contribute every month without fail, and do not touch it for decades. You do not need to understand price-to-earnings ratios. You do not need to follow the Fed's interest rate decisions. You do not need a financial advisor charging 1% of your portfolio to rebalance once a year. You need a brokerage account, a low-cost index fund, and an automatic monthly contribution. Start now. Understand later. This is the rule that reframes everything. Income is vanity. Net worth is sanity. A person earning $200,000 a year with $140,000 in debt and $12,000 in savings has a net worth that barely qualifies as financial existence. A person earning $65,000 a year with a paid-off home, $250,000 in retirement accounts, and zero consumer debt has a net worth that could sustain them for years without a single paycheck. Tracking net worth monthly forces you to confront reality. Every purchase affects it. Every investment grows it. Every debt payment strengthens it. Every impulse buy weakens it. The number does not lie. It does not care about your intentions or your promises to yourself. It simply reflects the accumulated result of every financial decision you have made. The Ramsey millionaires averaged 28 years to reach a net worth of $1 million. 28 years. Not overnight, not in a market cycle. Across decades of disciplined behavior, most of them track their progress religiously. They knew their number. They watched it grow, slowly at first, then faster as compound interest began to take hold. Watching your net worth climb, even by small amounts, builds a psychological momentum that no budget spreadsheet can match. It transforms finance from a chore into a pursuit. You start to see every decision through the lens of what it does to the number. And the number, over time, becomes the only financial metric that matters. The nurse and the electrician, similar incomes, same city. The nurse's family is drowning in $23,000 of credit card debt with no savings. The electrician's family has $340,000 in retirement savings, zero consumer debt, and a 6-month safety net. The gap between these two families is not talent. It is not luck. It is not education. It is 7 rules that one family follows and the other does not. Automation, emergency savings, living on last month's income, the 72-hour rule, refusing to finance depreciation, investing early and often, tracking net worth, not income. None of these rules are glamorous. None of them will trend on social media. None of them will generate excitement at a dinner party. But stacked together, practiced consistently over 10, 20, 30 years, they produce something that no shortcut, no side hustle, no viral investment tip ever will. Genuine, irreversible financial freedom. Picture yourself 10 years from now if you follow them. You are 10 years older. Your retirement account has grown by hundreds of thousands of dollars through nothing but consistent contributions and compound interest. Your emergency fund sits untouched, quietly earning interest, a foundation you have never needed to use. Your car is paid off. Your credit card balance is zero. You check your net worth once a month, and every month, it is higher than the month before. You sleep well. You make decisions from a position of strength, not desperation. You are calm. Now picture 10 years from now if you do not. You are 10 years older. Your income has risen, but your debt has risen faster. The emergency fund never materialized. The investments were always going to start next year. The impulse purchases accumulated into a lifestyle you cannot sustain, but cannot bring yourself to downgrade. You check your bank account with a low-grade anxiety that never fully goes away. You are tired. The rules are the same for both futures. The information is identical. The only variable is whether you act on them or scroll past them. 79% of millionaires in America are self-made. They are not geniuses. They are not lucky. They are not from wealthy families. They are people who learned a set of boring, unsexy financial rules and followed them when nobody was watching.